comment on one of my last insert season here videos, the Lego Snoop Dogg. I have an idea. What if you do something similar but only with bad teams on the grid? Like 2012 but just with Marussia, HRT and Caterham. So we get a small championship of 6 drivers that never scored points in the actual season. I like this idea. Thank you, Lego Snoop Dogg. So welcome to a mini-series that I'm calling the F1 2010 to 2012 Backmarker Championship, where we see what a championship between Marussia, Caterham and Hispania Racing Team would look like. I'm aware that Marussia and Caterham were originally kept as Virgin Racing and Team Lotus when they first joined, but for easiness sake, I'm just gonna call them Marussia and Caterham. For the point system, the highest finisher, these 6 drivers will score 25 points. It's the usual F1 points for 1st through 6th, as long as you're a classified finisher. And with that, we start with 2010. At the opening race in Bahrain, the only of the 6 cars to reach the finish were the 2 Caterhams. Or well, Kovalainen reached the flag, Trulli did not. However, he did complete over 90% of the race distance, and so he is classified and so can still score points. It's a Sam story in Australia, with only 2 of them finishing, with Kovalainen again finishing highest, this time in 13th, but it's Chandok being the only other finisher at the 6th for HRT, so he gets himself on the scoreboard as Kovalainen has a strong lead after just 2 races. There's a bit more luck in terms of finishers in Malaysia because there's 4 of them. Trulli finishes in 17th behind Bruno Senna in 16th, getting his first finish of the year. Chandok takes 15th, while Lucas de Grassi takes 14th, also getting points on the board and getting his highest backmarker finish for 25 points. China is a return to the highest finisher for Kovalainen in 14th, ahead of the HRTs of Senna and Chandok in 15th and 16th for the only 3 finishers of the 6, and it's only for 3 finishers again in Spain for round 5, as Trulli gets his 3rd 17th place of the year, but that 17th is the highest of the back markers, so that's 25 points for him. It's the 2 Marussias that are the other 12 finishers, in 18th for Glock for his first finish of the year, and de Grassi behind in 19th. All this to say that after 5 rounds, Kovalainen is leading the back marker championship on 75 points, 20 ahead of teammate Trulli on 55. Chandok is 3rd on 51 points, de Grassi takes 4th on 50, Senna has 33 and 5th, while Glock is last in 6th on 18 points. For the team's side of this backmarker championship, then it's Caterham leading the way by quite a bit. They've got 130 points to HRT on 84 and Marussia on 58. Onwards to Monaco, where not a single one of these buggers crossed the finish line. Glock had a track run problem, de Grassi had a loose wheel, Senna's race came to an end with problems for the hydraulics, while Kovalainen had a steering problem. That then left Chandok and Trulli, who had this moment together when the Italian overtook the Indian. Literally overtook. But they'd both completed 90% of the race distance, so they were classified in 14th for Chandok and 15th for Trulli, so they still got points, and it's a win for Chandok for the first time despite Trulli's unorthodox methods of passing. And that hands the Indian the backmarker championship lead on 76 points to Kovalainen 75, only 1 point in it so far, and both drivers were fine, by the way. Thankfully nobody got hurt. After Monaco came Turkey, and it was Timo Glock's turn to be the highest finisher in 18th place, leading a Marussia 1 backmarker 1-2 because de Grassi was 19th, then Chandok continued his consistency of being in the top 3 of the back markers in all but 2 races so far with 20th. In Canada, Kovalainen strikes back with a 16th place finish, giving him 25 points. Kroon takes 18 points for finishing in 18th, while de Grassi's 19th for the 3rd time in the last 4 races, a streak that he breaks in Valencia for the European Grand Prix because he finished 17th for a 2nd back marker win of the year. Chandok, Glock, Senna and Trulli are the other finishers to give us 5 of the 6 cars finishing for the first time this season. And the same happens in Silverstone as HRT start pissing about with their driver lineup and play musical chairs. Senna is out for this race as Sakon Yamamoto takes the wheel of the 21 car and he finishes 20th, which is the lowest of the back markers to reach the flag. The highest finisher was Jarno Trulli for Caterham, finishing in 16th ahead of teammate Kovalainen in 17th. Glock was 18th and Chandok was 19th, meaning the Indian still leads the standings on 139 points to Kovalainen on 118. However, Silverstone would be Karun's last race because he was replaced in the number 20 car from the German Grand Prix by Sakon Yamamoto as Senna returned to the 21 from Germany onwards. So bang goes Karun's chances of being backmarker champion. Trulli is currently 3rd in the championship on 108 points, 10 ahead of Lucas de Grassi's Marussia on 4th on 98. Timo Glock is 5th on 73, 6th is Bruno Senna, while Yamamoto, after just one race, is 7th on 10 points. In terms of the team's championships, Caterham is starting to run away with things a little bit on 226 points compared to HRT on 194, and Marussia are bringing up the rear on 171. Oh, and by the way, remember to subscribe if you haven't already to stick around for more F1 content. Like, comment, do all the stuff. Back to the video. Back to the racing and to round 10 in Germany, which sees Bruno Senna have a triumphant return to the cockpit as the second highest finishing Backmarker in 19th place. One place behind Glock, who takes the win as nobody else finished. Hungary comes next, which is a big race for the Backmarkers. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's the first and only time this season all 6 of them finished, with Kovalainen leading the way home on 14th place, with the other 5 filling out places 15th through 19th, so points all around. In Belgium, Kovalainen backs up his Hungary win and takes the win again with the 16th ahead of De Grassi, who takes 17th, which is really now getting him right up there into the fight, at least for second, as he's outscoring everybody but Heikki. Timo Glock is rounding off the Backmarker podium, but the next race in Italy, he's heading up the Backmarker podium with a win in 17th place. Kovalainen and Yamamoto for his first podium in the championship joins him in the top 3 for the final European race, because now it's off to Asia. Before we do though, let's take a peery look at the Backmarker standings. Heikki Kovalainen has started to run away with it about 186 points as he now leads 33 ahead of Timo Glock in second on 153, and somehow Karun Chandok is still in the top 3 on 139 points, but only just because Trulli and De Grassi are tied only 1 point behind him on 138 apiece. Senna and Yamamoto are bringing up the rear meanwhile on 75 and 43 respectively, and meanwhile in the team's battle, Caterham lead the way still on 324 points to Marussia is second on 291, and HRT sit on 257. Speaking of HRT, they begin playing musical chairs again in Singapore as they replace Sakon Yamamoto with Christian Klein for the race. The exact reason why? I can't find a concrete absolute reason why. I saw food poisoning giving as a reason. However, I also saw it could have been sponsor/cash reasons, because he was apparently seen in the paddock that weekend looking fine, so God knows. Klein doesn't even finish the race though. Only 12 drivers are classified, and that's De Grassi in 15th and Kovalainen in 16th. That does allow De Grassi to now leap up into second place, but he is 41 points down on Kovalainen, who is looking set for the Backmarker title. Unless something dramatic happens, that is. It does now in Japan. Heikki gets the Backmarker win with the best Backmarker finish of the year in 12th place. Trulli, Glock, Senna and Yamamoto, who's returned to the cockpit after his quote-unquote food poisoning, follows him home as quickly as De Grassi got second place. He loses it again as he didn't even start the race. It's instead Glock's turn to be second, but again it's a big gap to Kovalainen, who's now on 229 points to Glock on 168, a gap of 61 points. That means that heading to Korea, Kovalainen can wrap up the Backmarker driver's title so long as he finishes within 10 points of Glock, 15 points of De Grassi and 22 points of Trulli. And well, Heikki Kovalainen does better than that. He outscores the lot of them with another win in 13th place, as the other 3 who could have stopped the Finn for taking the title were all failing to finish. Senna and Yamamoto did finish in 14th and 15th, but they were both out of contention anyway, so leaving the first ever Korean Grand Prix, Heikki Kovalainen is the F1 Backmarker Drivers Champion of 2010, with 2 rounds to go in which for Caterham to try and wrap up the team's title. They've got a good chance of doing it in Brazil with a 79-point lead over Marussia heading into said penultimate race, and with 43 left available after Brazil, yeah, so long as Caterham finish within 35 points of Marussia, they'll be fine. And not to repeat myself, but Caterham do better than finish within 35 points. They outscore them by 28, because Glock is the only Marussia to finish in 20th, as the Caterhams take a Backmarker 1-2, 18th for Heikki and 19th for Trulli. The HRTs of Senna and Klein, who's back in replacing Yamamoto again for reasons for which I could not find, they finished 21st and 22nd. But with that, Caterham are the F1 Backmarker Teams Champion of 2010, but now the question remains, who's going to be the runner-up? Well, for the teams, there is 12 points separating Marussia and HRT, so really it's all to play for there. Glock, meanwhile, in the drivers, leads the second place fight on 183 points to Trulli on 174, a gap of 9 points. And then Degrassi is trailing them on 663 points, 20 points to Glock rather. So really, second place is anybody's game. Degrassi is really the underdog here because in order to get second place, he would need to get the Backmarker win, while Glock fails to score. Meanwhile, he would need to be at minimum the 5th finishing Backmarker, with Glock failing to finish the race and scoring nothing, or being the Backmarker winner with Glock 3rd or lower. As I say, it's anybody's game. In Abu Dhabi, Kovalainen sails to a 10th Backmarker win of the year and 17th as Glock retires. So, you know, great for him. Degrassi would have needed to take the win, as I say, to take second, but as I say, Kovalainen wins, so second place, 18 points, mean the Brazilian just falls short. Trulli, however, does not fall short. In fact, he gets second by just 1 point after being classified in 21st for 10 points. Glock just misses out on 183 points, finishing 3rd, to Trulli on 184 in second, as Kovalainen wins the title by 120 points in the end on 304 points. Degrassi claims 4th place in the end on 181 points, very close up for the battle for second to end up with. But Karun Chandok did manage to stay in the top 5 on 139, just 7 ahead of Senna on 132, and then finally Yamamoto finishes on 62 and Klein on 22. In the team's title, despite Marussia only scoring 18 points with Lucas Degrassi, HRT would have needed to score them by 13 points to get second place, and with scoring 27 points for being the 3rd and 4th finishing Backmarkers in the final race, they only scored them by 9, which means Marussia holds on to second ahead of HRT on 364 points to HRT's 361, as Caterham sailed to the title on 488 points total. And with that, I will end this one here and come back for 2011 in another video, and then 2012 as well. I'm interested to see how those seasons work out. Let me get your thoughts down in the comments below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.